Welcome to another daily allegory through astrological divination. Today we're going to switch up gears. We're going to be doing a parable. But first, our magic motto of the day is may every false name become a witness, and every stolen blessing return as ruin to its thief. This is the parable of the woman of many doorways. In the years when truth had grown cheap in certain places, there wandered a young woman who treated every human being like a key. She was beautiful in a way a polished blade is beautiful, bright enough to draw the eye, cold enough to forget the hand that reaches for it. She did not ask, "Who are you?" She asked silently, "What can you do for me?" And whether a man carried money, a woman carried trust, a friend carried connections, or a fool carried loneliness, she found the weak seen and pulled. To one, she offered affection and took protection. To another, she offered tears and took cash. To another, she offered secrets and took obedience. To another, she offered desire and took crime. She moved from town to town like a commander, changing stations, keeping little bases everywhere. Moving like the military almost, or trying to. One house for charm, one for hiding, one for the lies, and one for escape. In each place she wore another name as easily as another coat. Sometimes she changed the whole of it, sometimes only the last part. But often she kept the same first name, as if vanity required at least one true syllable to survive the costume. She understood that people trust repetition, and so she gave them just enough familiarity to mistake deceit for continuity. Wherever she went, she staged beginnings. There were engagements that bloomed too quickly, marriages with too many decorations and too little history, ceremonies arranged more carefully than the lives that followed them. There were registries filled like altars, the amount of registries on Amazon alone. Fine plates, shining appliances, wrapped gifts for homes that were never even meant to be homes. And when those wells had been emptied, she would perform another miracle. A child promised where no child would come. Fake pregnancies and, fake marriages. What a scam. Her smile would soften, her voice would lower, and suddenly there would be baby showers, tiny blankets, car seats, cribs, bottles, and stuffed animals purchased by hearts more generous than cautious. What she could not use, she sold. What she could not sell, she stored. What she could not store, she abandoned like a snake leaves skin in the grass. Some said she was clever. Some called her resourceful. Some even admire her nerve. But old people in forgotten porches watched her the way farmers watch clouds that are too dark too early in the season. For they knew what the young often do not. A person who makes a marketplace of human trust is not building a life, only a corridor of collapsing rooms. And so it was that she prospered, for a while at least. Men lied for her, women vouched for her, strangers carried boxes into houses that would not still contain her by the next moon. Police officers covered for her and informed her when they were violating somebody else's rights. A few followed people for her, stalking them on her behalf. Frightened people for her, threatened people for her, all believing that they were serving a queen when they were only feeding a hunger with absolutely no bottom. She mistook movement for victory. She mistook accumulation for power. She mistook the fact that she had not yet fallen for proof that she could not. But there is a law older than courts and way sharper than gossip. Whatever is built entirely from other people's trust will one day collapse under the weight of all that was stolen to hold it up. The first crack came quietly. A wrong face in the wrong town recognized the right first name. A gift given in innocence appeared later in sale in another county. A marriage certificate did not align with the husband who remembered the same vows spoken under another surname. A pregnancy announced with great ceremony met a body that could never confirm it. One lie touched another, and another, and another, until her web became too dense even for her to move through cleanly. Then those she had used began to see one another. The protected met the robbed, the charmed met the discarded, the witness met the spouse met the merchant met the friend who had once sworn she was just misunderstood. At last, the many doorways through which she had entered other people's lives became one long hallway, and at the end of it stood Consequence, patient as a landlord. For the tragedy of such a woman is not merely that she deceives others. It is that she empties herself so thoroughly in the process that she no longer knows how to exist without a script, a target, a registry, a ring, a staged beginning. She becomes a guest in every town and a citizen of none. She learns how to acquire, but never how to keep. She learns how to manipulate belief, but not how to survive truth. And when the season of reckoning arrived, people said she had very terrible luck. Just very bad things started happening around her all at once, all of a sudden, just one thing after the next. The wives shook their heads, though. It was not luck. It was inventory. Every false name returned, every borrowed promise returned, every staged union returned, every empty cradle returned. Every hand she had used became a witness. Every town she thought was a separate kingdom became a chapter in the very same book. And the moral was written plainly for anyone willing to read it. Whoever turns people into tools will one day discover that tools remembered a hand that used them. And whoever builds a throne from lies may sit high for a season. But when it breaks, and it always does, it cuts on the way down. It's like death by 1,000 cuts, like slow dagger. We're going to end this with the invocation of the scales of the Duat. Hail to the dark waters beneath the moonless sky, to the hidden gates of the Duat, to the hall where nothing false survives its own weight. I call upon Amit, devourer of the threshold, she who consumes the heart swollen with deceit. The crocodile-lined hippopotamus of divine ruin, who crouches beside the balance of the goddess Mayat, and waits for the soul that made profit from corruption. Come near to one who clothed fraud in beauty, who took sacred vows and made the merchandise, who lifted false names like veils, who built altars of gifts from stolen trust, who filled empty chambers with counterfeit promises and called the harvest holy. If the heart is made heavy by lies, let it not pass. If the tongue was sharpened for deception, let it cleave to its own falsehood. If the hands gathered what was never blessed for them, let those hands remember the weight of judgment. Let every false union stand as witness. Let every invented cradle speak. Let every hidden ledger rise like papyrus in the court of the dead. I call upon Sobek, Lord of the river's teeth, great crocodile of the primeval flood, master of the green current. He whose jaws close upon disorder, he who drags what is hidden into the light of Ra. Rise, O Sobek, from the black water reeds, stir the channels where deceit travels, break the crossings of the double-tongued, flood the secret paths between one false house and the next. Let no mask remain dry before you. Let no scheme remain anchored. Where bargains were whispered, let the waters enter. Where names were changed, let the river remember. Where greed nested, let the crocodile turn and see. Before Mayat, Lady of the Feather, let the balance be true. Before Anubis, Opener of the ways, Let what was hidden be weighed without mercy, before the devouring mouth of the river king. Let every counterfeit blessing curdle into the hand that stole it. Let what was taken in hunger become a burden. Let what was sold in cunning become a testimony. Let every false beginning become an ending that speaks its maker's name. Amidst weight at the scale, so back, guard the water. If there is corruption, consume its boast. If there is fraud, drown its roots. If there is theft of trust, return it as dust and bitterness to the mouth that first called it forth. By the black silt of Cometh, by the hidden chamber, by the weighing of the hearts, by the river that forgets nothing, let truth rise. Let the false be burdened by its own making. Let the unclean bargain meet the ancient law, and let no stolen gift remain sweet in the hand of the deceiver. Do what mayat, do what unpu, do what so back. Let it be weighed, let it be seen, let it be answered. With the divine authority I contain, we shall whisper these things in the law that underlies law, and so it is.